Okay, so welcome everybody, and tonight we're going to be talking about the two-star and above leadership pools. And before we kind of get into it, I want to really preface this with this is probably the most complicated part of the comp plan. Normally our comp plan is pretty straightforward. This takes a little bit more to understand, but don't worry if you don't totally get it all right now, because all of this information is in a flyer in the back office. I'm going to go through it with you, and then I'm going to let you guys type in questions and see if there's any questions. But when you're getting ready to go to actually participate in these pools, then that's when, we really sit down, we look at it, we make sure you completely understand that. So with this, okay, why do we want to participate in the two-star and above pools? So really, it comes down to there's a lot of money on the table. The company gives away $125,000 or more in each pool every month. And they've broken up the pools into three pools. So there's the 2- and 3-star pools, the 4- and 6-star pools, and the 7-star pool and higher. And so they put about $125,000 in each pool, and they give it away, based on which pool you're participating in. It works exactly the same. It's just that the share value and the qualifications are a little bit different depending on what level you're at. But I will go into all of that. Okay, so how do you participate in these pools? And let me just share the screen here for a second. Okay, so really to participate in the pools, there's a couple qualifications. And this, what I'm looking at right now, is in your back office. If you go to contests and promotions and you go to 1-star and above leadership pools, and this is the flyer. Okay, so now this flyer is huge. You can see there's a ton of information on this flyer. It goes, lots and lots of information. We are going to go through, I'm going to go through it in a little bit more simplified way, but I want you to understand the qualifications. So to qualify for these pools, first, you must be a paid as executive for 2 full commission weeks of the month. So now they've broken up the month it's not like all of October, all of November. The new leadership pools just started this Monday, and they're going to go through, November 20th. And it goes on a 4-week. So we're on a 4-week right now. Next month, it'll be 5 weeks. So it'll go November 21st through December 25th through Christmas Day. And then it'll start again December 26th, and it'll go 4 weeks into January. So it goes 4, 4, 5. Okay, we're on a 4 right now. The next one will be a 5. So you have to be a paid as executive for at least 2 full commission weeks, meaning you cannot fall off executive any of those days. The second thing is you have to cycle at least 20 or more times, personal cycles, and be a paid as executive for 2 of those weeks. So you have to say you got to paid as executive halfway through the month. The weeks that you're paid as executive, you would also need to cycle at least 20 times. And like rank advancements, you can get the rank advancement with matching cycles and with PIBs. With this, you can't. It's actual 20 cycles, okay? And then you need to grow. There's 2 things we're going to look at, and I will show these to you, but there's 2 things that we're going to look at, that they look at for this. They look at your personal cycles, the growth in your personal cycles, and then they look at the growth in your 4 PET, and I will explain that, okay? But to qualify, you have to grow your personal cycles in the 2 and 3 star pools right here by 10 over the benchmark, and in all the other pools by 20 over the benchmark, okay? That's how you qualify. And then you have to grow your 4 PET because that's how you're paid. You're paid on the people below you, not on your personal cycles, but you have to have your personal cycles at a certain level to actually qualify, okay? So let me explain the 4 PET. And they did a great job here, so I'm just going to use this. So your 4 PET is the 4 personally enrolled team. It's the 4-level personally enrolled team. So in this example, you enroll Sam and Barb. They're your first level. Now Sam enrolls TJ and Mary. That's your second level. Mary enrolls Tom. That's your third level. And Tom enrolls Susie. That's your fourth level. Now, this is the only time where levels count. For cycles, we're paid on everybody in our organization. But for the leadership pools, you are paid on the cycles of your 4 PETs. So, and you know, if Sam's not active, but Mary is, Mary is still in your 4 PET. These people don't all have to be active, but they have to be 4 levels down from you. Okay? So how do we earn share? You know, how do we get paid on this? Okay, so they look at each week. Now they create a benchmark, and the benchmark, they actually look back 13 weeks. So they're going to have a benchmark for your personal cycles and a benchmark for your 4 PET. Now, the benchmark in this example for the 4 PET is 85. So then they look at, okay, what is the growth? So here, you know, that week you got 100 cycles, so your growth is 15. In this example, you got 120, 35. Now, you qualify this week. They're giving the example that you fell off executive this week. But basically, they take 15, 15, negative 13, 65. Your growth is 102. Make sense? Okay, just stay with me. I know it's a little complicated. So you're paid on the growth over the benchmark in your 4 PET. And you're paid for the weeks that you qualify. And remember, to be qualified, you have to cycle at least 20 times, and you have to be paid as executive. Okay, so I'm going to go to the spreadsheet that I created here, and I'm going to show you a little bit what this looks like. Okay, so if you go into your back office, actually, let me go back here. And if you go into your back office and, you go into My Team and you click under the 2-star plus pool details. Now, this is my sister, so she doesn't have very much here. But they're going to tell you, what your benchmark is. Her benchmarks are 0 because she hasn't done much. But, normally they would be higher. And then they will put those benchmarks in your weekly net cycle growth. That's what you're paid on. And your personal cycle growth, which is how you qualify. So let's go back to this. You look at the beginning of the month and you find out what your benchmark is. Now, in this instance, the benchmark for the personal cycles was 14. So we put it into this spreadsheet. We put 14 every week. And the benchmark for the 4 PET was 30. Okay? So now, here's where the magic happens, okay? So again, to qualify, you have to be paid as executive. You have to cycle 20 times. So we are going to set those cycles at 20, at least 20. Now, if our benchmark was, say, 18, we might set them a little bit higher, okay? If we set the benchmark at 18, And here's why, okay? They give you certain, the first 3 months that you participate, and this is where people can make massive money. They are gonna give you double or triple the payout. And right now in the 2-star pools, the payout is $18 a share. And so if you get, now you only qualify for the first 3 months for double or triple that you get there. So the growth in your personal cycles, okay, if you get to even qualify, you have to have a growth of 10. In this instance, if we put 20 cycles here, they don't even qualify. The growth has to be 10. They want to see that you're growing. But say we did 22. Okay, now the growth is 16. Okay, that's great. You qualify. If you get between 10 to 14 growth in your personal cycles, you just get the regular share value, $18 a share. If you get a growth of 15 to 20, you get double, $36 a share. And if you get a growth of 21 or more, you get $54 a share. And this is not on your cycles. This is on everybody in your 4 PET. It's huge. It's really huge. So what you really want to understand is you want to be shooting for at least 21 or more growth in personal cycles. So in this instance, if we had 18 as your benchmark, we would want to be, shooting for, we'd put 24 here. We'd want to have at least 21 cycles because the difference can be so much, okay? Then they take now this is how you qualify. Your personal cycles is how you qualify. Your 4 PET is what you're paid on. And in this instance, the benchmark is 30. So every week, now these are the times the people below you are cycling. So we're going to, in this one, we would be and you look at it every day. That report in your back office under your team updates every day. Now it's 1 day behind. So like today, it's only through Wednesdays, not through Thursday. It's not real time. But it lets you know that, okay, you can kind of track it. So you want to make sure you're at least, you get as many as you can. Okay. In this instance, you get 15 shares here, 37 shares here, 26, 32, and at $18 a share, that's $1,980. Now, here is where the strategy comes in. Okay, this is how you're paid. And this over here is really how you're tracking your cycles. So you put your current cycles every day. You go in, you put your current cycles, your goal cycles. This is going to calculate the BV needed. You put in your auto ships from your business blueprint by category. Under view downline reports on my team, you go to business blueprint by category, you go down to auto ships, you put in the auto ships remaining for the week, and then you put the remaining in your in here. We've gone through this before, and it's going to tell you how much more you need to hit your goal. And then you can put in what you think is coming in, and it tells you after what you think is coming in how much more you need. So it keeps you on track. So you're not just guessing, am I going to hit 20 cycles this week? You're really working at it. Now here's where the strategy comes in. Because you can only participate in the double or triple. Now you can participate in these pools, the director pools, you can only participate 3 months. The executive pools, you can only participate 6 months. These pools, you can participate forever. I mean, as long as you want, but you only get the double or triple for the first 3 months. So the key is you want to qualify every single month, every single week, because if, for instance, say this week you had 28 cycles, and this week you had 20, and this week you had 19, and this week you had 17. Now you have a growth of 12, so you would qualify for well, okay, let's say you had, this is bigger. Let's say this is 19 and this is 26, okay? Or 27. You had 2 big weeks, you had 2 smaller weeks. You qualify for the triple, but because you didn't hit 20 2 of the weeks, you only get half of your shares. So instead of, you get 2 out of the 4. So instead of $1,980, you get half of that. Okay? Now, if you hit 20 this week, you would get 3/4 of it. If you fell below executive for one of these weeks, even if you hit 20 cycles, if you fell below executive, you don't qualify for that week. Again, it's, if we look back at this flyer, see if I can find the flyer. Okay, if you look back at this flyer, in this instance, this person fell below executive. They fell to director this week. So they take the total number of cycle growth, divide it by 4, and multiply it by 3. So they only get 76 shares instead of the 102. Well, if you're multiplying that times triple the payout, it's a lot of money you're leaving on the table for falling below executive. Maybe one of your consultants fell below. So the first bit of strategy that you really want to think about when you're participating in these pools is, first, look at the dates. See where you are. How close are you to being paid in these pools? Are you cycling 13, 14 times? Well, maybe if you're cycling that right now, you really, okay, next month you're gonna go for it. You pick the month that you're gonna go for it. When you really think you can get to 20 and stay there, okay? Because it'd be awful to just participate 2 of the weeks and miss out on that triple, all those shares. So you really want to look at the calendar. Okay, so if you're getting close, I know we have a lot of people on the team that are getting close. I'm looking at my calendar right now. We're in one right now, and I know we have some people going for it, but the next one starts November 22nd. Or sorry, the 21st. Are you going to be ready, November 21st to really do this? The next one after that is December 26th. And so really look at that, because once you decide to do it, then you go full out. And that first month is the hardest, because that's the first month that you participate is the hardest month, because it's the month that you have to make sure you're at 20. So that is also the month that, I hate to say this, you're going to work on Sundays, because you're going to be going like crazy to make sure that you're at 20 cycles by the end of the week. So, that's the first bit of strategy. Look at the calendar. Now, the second bit of strategy is make sure you stay at Pay It As Executive and you get to 20 cycles each week. Okay, so really key. You want to be looking at that every day. You want to be making sure none of your consultants are going to fall off. You want to be, really scrutinizing this, okay? Making sure you're qualified for every week. Because again, it's, it's difference between earning 50%, 75%, or 100%. You want to earn 100%, okay? Then, now here's where the other bit of strategy comes in. A lot of times we have people in our organizations that have been whenever you enroll somebody, you want to put their auto ship date at 29 days. You want to go in, when you enroll them, it's going to default to 30, move it back 1 day. If you enrolled somebody to on, June 5th, it's going to default to July 5th, move it back to July 4th, and then set the default time that it's, how often the auto ship's going to go out to 29 days, because then people start banking their own volume. So then when they get to consultant, they're going to cycle, and they're going to, sometimes I've seen people cycle 26, 27 times when they get to consultant, because they've banked volume for so long. So here's where the other bit of strategy comes in. You want to look at those people that are sitting on a lot of personal holding volume. When you look in somebody's organization, okay, you can see, now I'll show you this, okay? So for instance, when we look in my sisters, and we hold on one second, gotta get back in there. Okay, so if we look in her team, and what you want to do is you want to start looking, okay, who are the people? Now, who are the people who are active? Now, my mom and dad are one of the people who are really active. Now, if we look here, we see they have 8,260,000 points on one side. And they have 1,847 BV in personal holding volume, because they are not consultants. Which means when they become consultants, whatever that personal holding volume is going to go to the minor leg, the right leg. So you're going to add that 101 to the 1847, it's going to be 1948, which if you divide that by 300, because you need 300 points on this side, is 6 cycles. They are going to cycle 6 times. So, and then we look at Kurt, and we see, what's Kurt? Kurt's not going to cycle that much because he doesn't have that much on either side. But you want to, and this can take, honestly, an hour, a couple hours. But you want to go down through your organization. It's not just the people you've enrolled. It's your whole organization. It's your whole, anybody in your 4 PET. It could be somebody 4 levels down from you. Okay, if they're in your 4 PET and they're sitting on a lot of personal holding volume, and they've got one leg that's really built up, count, divide the personal holding volume, add it to the minor leg, divide it by 300, and see how many times they're going to cycle. Then put it in this list. Because these are, if you can get them, if you're participating, you're getting triple the payout. Mary, for instance, in this example, Mary would cycle 10 times. Well, if you're getting single the payout, that's $180 to you if you get Mary to help Mary get to consultant. At double, that's $360, and at triple, it's $540. Now, Mary's going to cycle, she's going to cycle 10 times. She's going to make $540. But you're also going to make $540. And when you look at everybody in your 4 PET, oh my gosh, it adds up. I mean, it really, really adds up. Laura here is going to cycle 17 times. Well, that's $918 to you. And when you add up all these people, it can be a lot. That's why, again, you don't want to fall off even for a day. Now, with this, you're collecting these, but you're not acting on it right away, because you want to make sure you're gonna get paid in this pool. I've made this mistake where I, get really excited. I see somebody's going to cycle 20 times. I let them know, hey, you're going to cycle 20 times if you get to consultant. And they're like, awesome, they get to consultant, and then, and then I didn't qualify. Sometimes, hold on, I'm going to see who the chat is. Okay. Oh, hold on. There's more chats. Okay. Did you guys have? Okay, we're gonna wait for the end for questions. Okay. So essentially, just wait to make sure you're going to qualify before you necessarily bring it to their attention. If they've been sitting on that volume for a couple of years, then sitting on it for a couple more weeks isn't going to make that much difference. Now, if somebody is actively trying to get there, you do not hold them back. You never hold anybody back, ever. And here's the other thing. Sometimes people will hold themselves back. They think, well, hold on, guys. I'm really sorry. My kids are blending a shake. 1 second. Okay. So when, one of the things is a lot of times people like, well, I'm not going to allow myself to get to 20 cycles because I don't know that I can maintain it. If you're close, you go like crazy. You don't hold yourself back. You push yourself harder. You never hold yourself back in this business. So again, just a recap. Big money in the leadership pools. A couple other things. So they do max out how much you can earn, okay? And it's based on the growth in your shares and in your personal cycles. So on the based on your shares, okay, if you get 1 to 40 shares, the maximum you can make is $10,000, okay? 41, now this is not your personal, this is below you. 41 to 100 is $25,000, and 101 is $125,000 a month, okay? Now, in the 2 and 3 star pools, if you have a growth in your personal cycles between 10 and 30, you can make up to 10,000. 31 to 50, up to 25,000. And I have friends who've made 25,000 month after month after month after month in these pools. And 51 or more, 100 up to 125,000. In the 4 star and above pools, if you have to grow your personal cycles 20 to even qualify. It's 10 in the 2 and 3 star pools. In the 4 star pools and above, it's 20. You have to grow your personal cycles by 20 over the benchmark. Hold on, I gotta pick up the dog. And if you get between 20 and 40 growth in your personal, you make up to 10,000. 41 to 60 is up to 25,000, and 61 or more is up to 125,000. They also cap what you can earn in the double or triple. In double, you can make up to an additional 5,000 a month, and in triple, you can make up to an additional 10,000 a month. Which means if you're making 10,000 in bonuses plus, the original, which is 5,000, that's 45. That's 15,000 a month in, what you're earning there. I mean, it just month after month, it really can add up. Okay, so real quick recap, and then I'm gonna let you guys ask questions. Again, to qualify, you have to be a paid as executive. You have to be, I'm going to stop the share. You have to be a paid as executive. You have to cycle at least 20 times. You have to grow your personal cycles by 10 or more over the benchmark in the 2 and 3 star pools, by 20 or more in the 4 and higher. You're paid not on your personal cycles, that's what qualifies you, but on the growth in your 4 PET, okay? And if you have a growth in your personal cycles for the first 3 months of 10 to 15, you get regular payout. 16 to 20, you get double, and 21 or more, you get triple. Okay, so Chris, now I'm going to open it up for questions. Hopefully this made sense. And guys, this flyer is in your back office. All the information is there. So if some of this doesn't make sense to you, that information is there. So Christy asks, is there a max capped amount Isagenix allows a person to be paid in the 2-star pools? The cap is $125,000. You would have to grow, you would grow out of the pools to make $125,000. I've seen people make, you know, $70,000 a month. And they allow you to be paid in it for forever. Now, the one caveat is if you max out your center and you start your new business center, you're not paid on the leadership pools in your existing business center, just on the new center. And if somebody below you maxes out their center, those cycles, you don't get paid on their growth. What we were seeing is people who just kind of got lucky and had somebody like absolutely go to town below them and just you know, it just kept cranking and cranking and cranking and cranking. And they were making, you know, like $100,000 a month in the leadership pools, and these business centers were maxed out below them. You know, their business centers, their personal cycles weren't, because all these people could be on one side, right? Now you have to grow your personal cycles, but if somebody below you maxes out, the growth in that below them doesn't count, okay, in their 4 PET. So with that, any questions? If you don't have any questions, you could just type no questions. Okay. Nope, no questions. Awesome. So the big thing, guys, huge money in these pools. When you understand this, you can get so excited. And for those that are close, oh my goodness, it's amazing. So Christy, right now, no, we are not doing next Thursday. Lindsay and Elliot are doing a live launch party next Thursday that we're going to be plugging people into. And I'm going to set up a new series of calls, just figuring out what's going to work for people and what information people really want to know. So everybody, and here's the thing, if you're not quite there, just work to get in there. You can earn a lot of big money in the director pools and in the executive pools, as well as you're working your way to the 2-star pools. And again, they don't cap you on this as far as time frame. So you can participate, month after month after month after month. I mean, I know Janet Elo keeps making huge money in these pools. Some people make almost as, they're making more than they're making in cycles in these pools. So with that, everybody have a fabulous night. And I will post this. It has been recorded and I will post it. So thanks, everybody. Bye, guys.